Good morning. Good morning. There we go. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. We're so glad that you have chosen to spend your Sunday morning with us. We know that you have many options and obligations on a weekend, and here you are. Thank you, and thanks to our online community for joining us when you're able, whether it's in the live stream or later at your convenience. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhite, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns, which I offer to create a truly inclusive and brave space for all to live into the fullness of our identities, are she and her. In this space, in person and online, there are many identities. Not everyone experiences the world the same way or necessarily believes the same things. What matters to us is that we keep love at the center of who we are and what we value. So whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, you are welcome here. For those gathered in the chapel, I encourage you to place your phones on airplane mode, or if you're really, really daring, go ahead and turn them off. Our Wi-Fi is a tiny bit wobbly, and so in order for our online community to have as full and even an experience as possible, we just ask that you help accommodate that. If you need a little hearing support, there are assistive hearing devices at the usher station near the beautiful sort of Frank Lloyd Wright lamp, if you're looking for a way to get there. And also near there are blankets. So if you're feeling a little chilly and need a little warmth around your shoulders, on your lap, please feel free to get up at any time. It is always okay to take care of your physical needs when we are gathered in this space. So today I am serving as the Worship Associate for our guest speaker, whom you will hear about and from shortly. Let's raise that sense of mystery that we like to live with. I like to begin our time together with intentional breathing and toning, opening our hearts and creating the space where transformation can occur. Our heart-opening song this morning comes from the UUA's new virtual hymnal, and it is appropriately titled Heart Opening Song. And so clearly that's what we should do. It's a zipper song, which means that just a word or a phrase changes each time through. There are 3 distinct parts, and I invite you to engage, if you wish, with some minimal gestures, if it helps you to sort of stay in your body as we sing. So each unit of the song has 3 little mini parts. There are 3 units. So do the math. You're going to pace yourself, right? So because we're going to do all 9, and it's going to be magnificent. I'm going to have you remain seated. I'm going to move a little closer to you all so that you can see as I give us some relative pitch awareness. And Gregory, if you would just play the line through once, and then we'll come together. Open wide to the song of the earth. My heart is open wide to the song of the earth. My heart is open Open to pain. My heart is open, open wide to the pain of the earth. My heart is open, open wide to the pain of the earth. My heart is open, open wide to the pain of you. My heart is open, open wide to the pain of you. My heart is open, open wide to the pain of my soul. My heart is open, open wide to the pain of my soul. We open to love. Hang on, we'll get there. My heart is open, open wide to the love of the earth. My heart is open, open wide to the love of the earth. My heart is open, open wide to the love of you. My heart is open, open wide to of you. My heart is open, open wide to the love of my soul. My heart is open, open wide to the love of my soul. Each week when we gather, we begin with a land acknowledgement. This is not an empty ritual. In this rite, we recognize that we are stewards of the acres upon which our church stands. But more than that, we honor our connection to the earth and offer our gratitude to the only planet in the whole universe that has the capacity to create and sustain us. And so we pour this libation to symbolize our commitment to care for this precious home for our spirits, to speak, I know, I'm trying, to speak and act on behalf of the earth, less I'm using mine now, and to seek to partner with those who are indigenous to this place, that we and our descendants may also bless, and be blessed. Also, when we gather, we light a chalice, a cup or a vessel that symbolizes Unitarian Universalism and the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings and the warmth and light that we create together. Please join me in our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. It's time to sing again. Aren't we lucky? So I'm going to invite you to rise and body your spirit. This song can be found in the gray hymnal 131, Love Will Guide Us, and the words are up front. Love will guide us, peace astride us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through. Let's swing this. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Really loud. Love will guide us, peace astride us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Nice. You may be seated. It's a sad day. No. Our reading comes from, and I should have looked up how to pronounce this, if it's Hafiz or Hafiz. Hafiz, thank you. See, I knew in a room full of smart people that someone would have known that. This is entitled, How Does It Feel to Be a Heart? Once a young woman asked me, how does it feel to be a man? And I replied, my dear, I am not so sure. Then she said, well, aren't you a man? And this time I replied, I view gender as a beautiful animal that people often take for a walk on a leash and might enter into some odd contest to try to win strange prizes. My dear, a better question for Hafiz would have been, how does it feel to be a heart? For all I know is love, and I find my heart infinite and everywhere. Each week when we gather, I invite you to come to the common table. We actually have two, the larger one up front and a small one at the back near the candles. And you are invited to bring your joys, concerns, your sorrows, the heaviness of the world, and for just a few minutes even, to set it down, trusting that whatever you bring can be held in the container of love that we create, this sacred time and space. Also, if you prefer to sit or your body does not want to rise and move, know that you are also part of this rite, anchoring us in this time and place that is made sacred by our combined presence together. And so as the music plays, I invite you to do what your soul and body are asking you to do. Move if you wish. I place the final stone in honor of those joys, concerns, and sorrows that are held within this room and well beyond this room. May we know that we can trust in that deep love. I invite you to sing with me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. It's time for the Wonder Box. Come on, my friends, come on down. All right. You get to choose your spot. Yeah. With Jet Pig. Excellent. Jogging along, don't lose your speed. You're doing great. Whoop. Wow. Right close and personal, yeah. All right. So, I won't make you guess what's in the Wonder Box because you would never in 100 kabillion years be able to guess. Another puppet. See, I told you wouldn't be able to get it. Ha ha ha. For those of you who might be new to us, very often a puppet emerges from the Wonder Box. Because in addition to being a minister, I was once a professional puppeteer. Everybody put on your surprise face. Nice. So the thing that's in the Wonder Box is very light. I wonder what it is. That's why we call it what is this? It's not just any skirt, huh? It's a tutu. Wow. Wow. It's quite lovely. Why? And that is the operative question, my friend. Why is there a tutu in the Wonder Box? Do you have an idea? Would you want to wear this? Yeah? Okay, let's put it on. No, you changed your mind. Okay. Well, if anybody does want to wear it, Miss Katie will have it with her. But you know what? My new friend Harper has a story that will help us understand why Reverend Michelle brought a tutu to church. And this is my friend Harper.
Hi, Harper. Hi.
Did you turn on your mic?
I did.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Harper, and my children are joining you today. Saint is seated right there, and my daughter Journey. I used to read this book to her quite a bit when she was younger. She really liked it. It's a book about friendship and loving and being kind to one another. And as the author says, for the listeners on and children at heart, as a community, it's an opportunity for us to accept and support our children for whomever they are and however they wish to look. So here's a story called My Princess Boy. My princess boy is 4 years old. He likes pretty things. Pink is his favorite color. He plays dress up in girly dresses. He dances like a beautiful ballerina. My princess boy has a cool brother. His brother plays baseball and soccer, and his brother dances with my princess boy. My princess boy loves his brother. My princess boy loves his dad. His dad tells my princess boy how pretty he looks in a dress. His dad holds his hand and tells him to twirl. My princess boy smiles and hugs his dad. I love my princess boy. When we go shopping, he is the happiest when looking at girls' clothes. But when he says he wants to buy a pink bag or a sparkly dress, people stare at him. And when he buys girl things, they laugh at him. And then they laugh at me. It hurts us both. Once my princess boy wore a dress at his birthday party. He welcomed his friends to his home, and he said, "I am a princess boy." He put on jewelry, and he liked how pretty he looked. He waved his princess boy wand. A princess boy can wear pink, and I will tell him he looks pretty. A princess boy can play with me in pretty girl clothes, and I will still play with him. If you see a princess boy, will you laugh at him? No. Right. And you still played with them, yeah? Will you call him a name? Will you play with him? Will you like him for who he is? Our princess boy is happy because we love him for who he is. My princess boy is your princess boy. Thanks for letting me read. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions. And I'm going to leave that to the folks you're going to spiritual development with.
All right, let's sing our children to their activities. It's your song. Go in love, our hearts go with you. Go in joy, our hopes go too. Learn in love and grow in wisdom. Learn your light in all you do. We have a shared reading, and so I will be reading as one, which is the italicized part, unlike usually when I read the regular print and you read italicized. Today we're throwing it on its head. I will read italicized, but you will read the bolded, which feels very good to me. This reading comes from Lifting Our Voices, one of the UUA contributions to what we can use, to all the things that we can use in our services. And this is by Reverend Wendy Bartell. And Wendy co-ministers with Lynn Gardner, they're a couple, at our church in Schenectady. So if you say things really loudly, they'll hear us. I'm sure that's true. We who dwell on the margins know about divisions, arbitrary and intentional, like land, like class, like culture. We make sharp borders around pieces of ourselves, and we blur the edges by being who we are, by expanding our circle. Beyond binaries, we multiply possibilities, languages, customs, practices, rituals, and ceremonies, not one narrative, but stories shared. Separation is illusion. Love transgresses borders between you, me, us, them, between secular and sacred. We need trust to strengthen our connection. We must dare to cross from my world into yours, from your world into mine, until we begin to weave a tapestry of faith and wonder aloud, whose are we? What is a nation? Who can own the earth? I'm going to have April introduce our speaker. We're using the blue mic for this, Les.
Nope. Oh, there we go. Good morning. For those of you who are new or visiting with us, my name is April.
Feedback.
Test. There we go. My name is April Starr, and my pronouns are they, she. And I am honored to introduce our speaker this morning because I am an active member of our Rainbow Coalition within the Social Justice League. And our fearless leader, Mark, is not able to be here with us this morning. So we are pleased to have Harper Bishop with us this morning as our guest speaker. Harper is a worker owner at Rose Jade Consulting Cooperative and a queer trans man with over 15 years experience in community organizing and advancing equity and justice through an intersectional lens. Harper has demonstrated courage, authenticity, and leadership by living openly and proudly, serving as a source of inspiration and empowerment to others with the transgender and broader community. Harper is also the co-founder of Queers for Racial Justice and Our City Action Buffalo, creating space for LGBTQIA+ people to connect personal experience with collective political action. And just this past week, Harper was honored by the Erie County Legislature. Often the conversation about transgender focuses on the physical changes that the individual undergoes to align with the person that they know themselves to be. We wanted to understand the psychological and spiritual side of the journey, and Harper is here to share his experience of being a transgender man during these challenging political times. Let's welcome Harper Bishop to the pulpit, please.
Okay, Well, thank you for that warm welcome. And before I get started, I just want to say, every time I step into a UU church, I get emotional pretty immediately. I'm just like, are you all just like a choir? Have you been practicing? It's so beautiful. So thanks for having me here today. As was said, my name is Harper Bishop. And I'd especially like to thank Mark Cook, who's not here today, and Reverend Michelle for inviting me to speak. Before I begin my reflection on Trans Day of Visibility, I want to acknowledge that yesterday many people across Buffalo and Western New York, and I'm sure members of this congregation, joined the No Kings protest to give voice to their very real concerns about the political moment we're living through. Today is no less significant. It's Palm Sunday on the Christian liturgical calendar, a tradition I grew up deeply immersed in and one that shaped a strong sense of identity in my youth. Recently, I've been exploring a more liberatory interpretation of the Palm Sunday story, one that portrays it as a loud and raucous event, much like yesterday's protest, and suggests it served a similar purpose. From what I gather, Palm Sunday reminds us that the personal is political, that faith lives not only in sacred spaces, but also in ordinary and public ones. It invites us to reflect on the kind of leadership we celebrate, the kind we should be celebrating, and the kind of world we long to create. The prompt I was given and what I want to share with you today in relationship to Trans Day of Visibility is this: the outward expression of who we are begins within, taking shape in our hearts and minds before it is ever visible in the world. It is in trusting ourselves and sometimes a few confidants that we find the courage, strength, and understanding to proclaim who we are in a world too often eager to define us for us. That's what I want to reflect on with you today. My own journey towards a more self-determined, freer version of myself. Someone who can be fully seen and who, in that visibility, can join with others to bring a new world into being. As I mentioned, I grew up in the church and I come from a large family. I'm one of 8 children, second to youngest, with only my sister younger than me. For as long as I can remember, sexual orientation and gender identity, though those terms weren't used, were part of an ongoing narrative about what was and was not acceptable for my life and in my life. Through strongly worded messages directed at me and conversations about me, it became clear that I fundamentally needed to change. That expectation extended from hobbies to personal relationships, and even to questions of eternal consequence. The mindset I absorbed in that environment was deeply contradictory. It carried a sense of conditional love, unworthiness, and persistent heaviness. At the same time, it cultivated a deep well of empathy, compassion, resilience, and a stubborn, sometimes loud defiance: I am who I am. It would be many years before I had the confidence to come out to my parents, but when I did, it couldn't wait. I'll never forget. It was April Fool's Day. And no, it wasn't a joke. In that small but mighty act, I had turned a corner. I began to reject the internalized queer phobia shaped by my upbringing, marking the beginning of a lifelong journey of healing my inner child. This process has also given me the clarity to understand myself better and to be honest about how I feel, about many things, including my gender identity. I came out as queer in my early 20s. My late 20s were defined by coming out as non-binary and eventually trans. Gender dysphoria, a discomfort experienced when one's gender identity does not align with the sex assigned at birth, was something I had felt most of my life. I had no language to name it, and the distinction between sex and gender was never part of my world. I found my path with the guidance of my inner counsel and a few deeply trusted people, including my now wife, who helped me choose a new first name, supported me through top surgery, and helped petition New York to legally change my name and gender marker. I gave myself the space to move on a timeline that felt right, honoring all of my lived experiences. My middle initials still honor the name my mother gave me and my grandmother's middle name, names I've carried with me for over 40 years. This part of my transition mirrors my spiritual path. It has evolved over time. Some parts feel deeply familiar, offering comfort when my path isn't clear. Other parts are still unfolding, giving me the opportunity to learn, grow, and sustain a sense of wonder and curiosity, qualities too often reserved for children and the young. Along the way, I've learned to find beauty in small, still moments, and to experience joy, even euphoria, in both the extraordinary and the everyday. My inward journey, like my outward one, has allowed me to weave a myriad of experiences into this one wild and precious life, as Mary Oliver once described it. I hold fast to the words of Archbishop Oscar Romero, who was assassinated while celebrating Mass during the Salvadorian Civil War many years ago. While his language is rooted in a particular faith, I encourage looking beyond the denomination toward the deeper revelatory meaning and the message it conveys. It helps now and then to step back and take a long view. The kingdom is not only beyond our efforts, it is beyond our vision. We accomplish in our lifetime only a fraction of the magnificent enterprise that is God's work. Nothing we do is complete. It's another way of saying that the kingdom always lies beyond us. No statement says all that could be said. No prayer fully expresses our faith. No confession brings perfection. No set of goals and objectives includes everything. This is what we are about. We plant the seeds that one day will grow. We water the seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces effects far beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there is a sense of liberation in realizing this. This enables us to do something and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for God's grace to enter and do the rest. We may never see the end result, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future not our own. How does that relate to Trans Day of Visibility? A significant part of my inward journey, especially as it relates to my trans identity, has been learning how marginalized communities come together to advocate for themselves and to stand in solidarity with one another. In other words, it's about how the invisible becomes visible. First through reflection, then through words, and finally through action. My story, deeply personal as it is inseparable from a political context, a space I've always nurtured, felt most alive in, and really, truly called to. Across the US, trans people face a rapidly shifting and hostile landscape. 2025 marked the 6th consecutive year of record-breaking anti-trans bills nationwide. In just the first 3 months of 2026, 747 anti-trans bills were filed in 42 states. Right. Maybe I'll say that one again. In just 3 months of 2026, 747 anti-trans bills were filed in 42 states, targeting everything from gender-affirming healthcare and sports participation to education and the ability to carry accurate IDs. In Kansas, for example, trans people had their licenses revoked overnight just a few weeks ago. With no judicial relief currently forthcoming, trans people in Kansas are unable to drive legally, making it more difficult to get to work and increasing their economic vulnerability. The current president and his administration has escalated from portraying trans people as threats to families and the military to framing us as threats to spiritual health and national security. Technically, because of my, quote, extreme gender ideology, also known as being who I am, I'm currently classified as a domestic terrorist by law enforcement agencies within the federal government. The Lemkin Institute asserts that the U.S. is in an early to middle stages of a genocidal process aimed at erasing trans people from public life, and ultimately from existence both in the United States and globally. Public opinion is now divided, with growing support for discriminatory restrictions. That's why, for some, visibility isn't an option. Those with marginalized identities, particularly with precarious immigration status, may face serious risk, such as detention or deportation, simply for for being seen. For others like myself, being visible can mean navigating both privilege and marginalization simultaneously. This awareness profoundly shaped my understanding of self, especially on the other side of physical transition, and has informed my organizing and advocacy work. I fight for a day when all people, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, race, disability, immigration, or socioeconomic status, can be truly seen, heard, and respected for who they are. As a member of a population that makes up roughly 1% of the US, I intimately understand that my liberation is bound up with that of others. I am only one worker, and the work is laborious, but it is not mine alone, and it is not only for me. In closing, I'm grateful to celebrate Trans Day Visibility with all of you. I wouldn't be a good organizer if I didn't leave you items, so here they are. First, get outside. Attend community events and continue learning about the experience of non-binary and intersex people. The symbolism of this day is important, and more is needed. Secondly, make some noise, take action. Join protests, contact elected officials, support inclusive legislation, and share stories that affirm the humanity and rights of trans people. And thirdly, trust trans people. We know who we are and what we need. Follow our lead. Thank you for providing me with the space to share with you this morning. I'm happy to either take a couple questions, hear your reflections, and if not, I will be at coffee hour ready and willing to talk to each and every one of you. Thanks so much. Yeah, there goes that you making me emotional again. Thank you, everyone.
So I can walk around, and if you have a question now that is already forming in your head, we have time for a couple. And as Harper said, he'll also be available during coffee hour to you. But I am here with a microphone, ready to roll.
Oh.
Where am I seeing? Oh, sorry. You have sunlight behind you, so you glow.
Good morning. I looked at that graphic. I looked at the graphic. New York State is one of the states that passed negative legislation. I couldn't tell which states had passed, or the bills.
Yeah, totally. So New York State is actually one of the more affirming states, and so actually what we're seeing is migration from redder states or where laws are like Idaho, Kansas, where there's penalties now, essentially trans people being erased from public life. And so New York is seen mostly as a state where people are coming to as a safe haven. I worked on a campaign, Prop 1, we all voted for this just in the last election, in November, well, it's I guess a year and a half ago now, that codifies gender identity into the state constitution because the lesson that we're learning is that who governs is important. And for a person who came to New York and became governor of the legislature that no longer was friendly towards trans people, that they might try to roll back rights. And so the codification in our state constitution is really important. So thankfully in New York, we're ahead of most, and we're seeing like a trend where people are coming to us. For that question. Obviously, is a little bit difficult to read, but I wanted to just have you see the count of how many bills are being introduced at the state level.
It's very surprising to me about New York. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah. Oh, and also that counter, just so you're aware, it doesn't. I didn't mention a lot of the bills failed because people put them forward. It may be that already put that forward, but then New York State didn't pass it.
Thanks. Great talk, Harper. Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about where you live in Buffalo and the activities of ICE and how they relate to trans and queer populations versus people who are being deported?
Yeah, okay, it's a really good question. I was sharing before the service that sometimes I think there's, based on your geography, you're going to see ICE activity or not. I live on the west side of Buffalo, and ICE is very much doing their work. And it is taking rapid response and neighbors pulling together to protect our neighbors and to make sure that they're not kidnapped off the streets of the west side. How that relates, the intersectional approach that I try to take to all my work is there's so many folks who, when detained, obviously are not being given health care, put in holding and detention facilities that match their gender identity. That's like sort of a given, unfortunately. And one of my first experiences when the came back was that we were called on to support a trans woman at the Batavia Detention Center, which, if you don't know, that's the federal detention center, the largest one outside of New York City, and it's an operation. My wife does a lot of work with immigrant rights organization. She runs an immigrant rights organization called Justice for Migrant Families. In that meeting, it was when the order had just come down that the federal government was no longer going to use preferred pronouns. They were just going to use biological sex. And so that woman had to endure essentially humiliation as the federal government, and the whole power of the federal government is represented by the lawyer who said, this is now the stance of the federal government. We will be referring hereafter, he, him, and we'll be talking about it as such. And then, this whole conversation ensues in which their lawyer tries really hard to say, like, it costs us nothing to do here. So I will be defending my, like the individual and my client in this way. And again, we have very progressive lawyers who are doing that work. And that day I got to witness like a lawyer going so hard to bat for trans people, a cis woman who was showing absolute solidarity. I could be moved to tears right now, even in the retell, because it was such a jolting moment for me to witness, again, people who are not impacted and do not have that identity debate your humanity in front of you. It is very hard to do and hard to, and we've all had it in some way happen to us in our lifetime probably, but it was an incredibly pronounced moment, and that is happening across the board. And so I just spoke, and it was like, it's like for gender health, it's for trans healthcare, and it was just like a focus group, and they gave me like a $50 gift certificate, and I donated it to JFMF to say, I want it to go to like a queer trans, or trans person who, again, is experiencing even the horrors of detention, deportation, detention in even more pronounced way than even their counterparts. So it's a great question. I could go into it much more, but that's, there's personal experiences that I've witnessed that tell me that this is happening every day.
So I can feel your questions cooking. Okay, Wendy, you get to be the last one in here, but there's coffee hour, right?
Coffee hour, yeah.
Thank you. Yes. How about that? Yes, that's working. Okay. Can you give a definition of what a trans identity is, please?
I think it's as I described in gender dysphoria, so the idea that a person who is born a biological sex and defined as such later understands of themselves that their biological sex does not match their gender identity or who they believe themselves to be in regards to gender. So, if we were looking at the federal government, they would say I'm a biological sex is female, that's at birth. I, along my journey and path as I described here, facing multiple oppressions, taking it time to learn this about myself, find on the other end that I identify as a trans man.
Thank you.
Yeah. And great question.
Okay, so we're going to prepare for some singing, but first I need
Perfect.
to move my friend Ron.
Thank you.
So, it's time to sing again. Fire of Commitment, you can find it in the Teal Hymnal 1028. I invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and sing it with all the gusto you got. From the light of days remembered, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. You may be seated. I'm out of breath. I love that song so much. I kind of oversang. Woo. What we have here at UU Amherst is pretty darn special. And these days, it can be hard to find a community of thoughtful and caring people who are welcoming and inclusive. And we hope that you have found that place here. So it's the time of our offering. Whether you give online, through automatic bank withdrawals, or randomly with the cash and lint in your pocket. We are grateful. Folks who are participating online and folks in the house, you can text your gift to the number on the screen because we are that 21st century. The offering will now be gratefully received. We began our service with the lighting of a chalice, and now we will extinguish it, not to quench the flame, but to return it to individual hearts, strengthened by this time spent together, so that we can share our light in the world. Please join your voices with mine. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. You'll find many opportunities for growth and service in your order of service and on our website. All are invited to stay for coffee and conversation in the Emerson Room, which is just through the double doors at the back of the chapel, or through the lobby, through more double doors. Double doors will take you to coffee, is basically what I'm saying. We do have a place for families with children at the far end, at the window end, where there are activity stuff to keep them occupied. If you're sitting here thinking, wow, this place, yeah, this could be for me, please talk to me after the service. I would love to let you know how to become part of this community. Next week is Easter, which means a bunny and an egg hunt following the service. And since we are UUs who care about your dental health, it is a no candy egg hunt with fun prizes. So kids will begin with the service, per usual. Then they will move into the Emerson Room. You don't have to worry about it. Miss Katie will take them. Miss Katie and Molly and Kayla, they will make sure they get where they need to be, because the eggs will be hidden in the faith development area. So after the service, you who have little people under your care, please meet them in the Emerson Room with a tallish bunny and go with them, participate. Make sure you've reactivated your phone so you can capture all the fun, right? It's gonna be kind of awesome, always is. And now, I invite you to rise and bow to your spirit as we sing one more time. It's our closing blessing. Don't forget to twinkle your eyes at one another in verse 3. I will just shout, twinkle, and you'll know. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember on your road, may the road rise up to meet you as you leave your past behind. I will think about you gently, and I'll hold you. Twinkle, travel light and travel easy till I see once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. Life is short, and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel this way with us. So be swift to love, and make haste to be kind, and make a difference.